Hello my friends and welcome to the Cat Scrappiness YouTube channel. Katie here, and today I'm excited because we have a huge release. But before we get into that, I want to let you know we're having our Memorial Day weekend sale. Only exclusion is new product. However, we are giving you an opportunity to win this entire release. Check out facebook.com/catscrappiness to enter the Rafflecopter for your chance to win. So we're jumping right in. We've got a pretty long video, so I don't want to hold anything up. First up, we've got Happy Mother's Day. This measures 4 by 3 inches. Your shadow die is about 1/4 of an inch. And here's my example that I die cut out of some ruby metallic cardstock. It actually looks more purple, but I die cut that out 3 times and layered that up and used some of the pearl gems that are going to be released also, and you'll see more of those at the end of the video. This here is Megan's example for Mother's Day card, as well as Donna's. Next up, we have Happy Father's Day. This one measures 4 by 3 1/4 inches. I do want to let you know that these come debirded, so you don't have to manually separate these. And all of the shadow dies are about 1/4 of an inch. Little space for your shadow. So here's my example. I die cut the Happy Father's Day out of some silver cardstock 3 times and layered that up. I like to layer up my word dies. It gives a nice chipboard effect and it gives some great dimension. I also use the mini Slimline chevron die for that. Here we have Karen and Donna. We've got some great Father's Day inspiration. Here's Lisa's, Megan's, Tina's, and then we've got Priscilla's and Waleska's, Maria's, and Sherry's. Sherry's is my absolute favorite. I love it. Okay, next up we have Congrats, and this one measures 4 by 1 1/4 inches. And for my example, I use some glitter cardstock to die cut the word Congrats, and then some vellum to die cut out my shadow. And for our examples, we have Karen, and I love her graduation card. I think that's cute. And Donna's rainbow. I love her little rainbow. And Maria's. And then we've got Lisa's popsicles. Aren't those adorable? Okay, next up we have Thinking of You. This one measures 4 by 2. And again, you get your shadow die. All the word dies that we have releasing this month come with your shadows. And so I use a bunch of old backgrounds that I had created. I'm a big background fan with big sentiments, so this worked out really, really nicely. Again, stacked mine up 3 times, and I used a shimmer cotton cardstock that I had over the top of that to give it a little bit of shimmer. And here we have Karen and Megan. I love Megan's watermelon card. I think that's so cute for summer. And then we have Tina, Waleska, Priscilla's. I love Priscilla's too. I love that beachy look, that pattern paper she used. And then we have Sherry's. Next up we have Hello My Crafty Friend. This one measures 4.75 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And for this one I used some black watercolor paper that I had with some pearlized watercolors. And the pearlized ones show up better on darker cardstock, so that's what I did here. And then I die cut my Hello My Crafty Friend from some light pink glitter cardstock from Memory Box, and then I used the Distressed Edge rectangle die to cut out my panel there and pop it up. So here we have Karen and Donna's and Lisa's, and then we've got Megan's and Maria's. I think that's so pretty. Okay, next up we have Sending Paper Hugs. This one measures 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. Now the Sending Hugs is together, so that gives you some versatility with this die if you don't want to include the paper. Okay, so paper is totally separate. Now here I did an eclipse technique, and so you can't really see it, so I'm going to bring it closer. But for the stenciling, I used the Pink Fresh Studio Floral Notes that's available in the Cat Scrappiness shop. And then I die cut the Sending Paper Hugs out 3 or 4 times and layered that up to give that raised effect. And here we have Karen and Donna. Then we've got Lisa's. I think hers is pretty too. Megan's. I love her little koakas. and Maria's. I love her little envelopes too, her little rainbow envelopes. Next up, we have Missing You. This one measures 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. And this is 2 separate dies as well. So you have Missing and You, and that gives you some versatility because you can use the word you on other cards with other sentiments mixed in. So here's mine, again, another background panel that I had in my stash. And this time I used some pearlized linen cardstock that I had to layer over the top to give it a little bit of shimmer and texture. So here we have Megan and Tina. Tina's is my favorite. I love it. Waleska's, Priscilla's, and Sherry's. I like Sherry's rainbow too. And next up is Happy Summer. This one measures 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. And again, just a background that I had in my stash that I was able to layer up. I used the same pearlized linen cardstock to die cut my Happy Summer out, and I stacked that up with some regular white cardstock 3 times to give it some dimension and pop. And so here we have Karen and Donna's, Lisa's, Tina's is coming up, and Megan's. I love Megan's little flamingos. Okay, and last for our word dies is Happy Anniversary. This one measures 1.745 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And for this, I use the reverse of my cutouts from my Father's Day card. So it looks very similar, just a little bit different. And so for the Happy Anniversary, it's more masculine. So I cut that out with the silver cardstock and layered that up about 3 times as well. And here we have Tina and Priscilla's, Sherry's. Sherry's uses foil, and Megan's. I just love Megan's too. Okay, next up we have the Tag Essentials die set. So everything you see here is what is included in the die set. So here we have the regular frame, tag frame, which is 6.325 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And then we have the stitched frames. You have 2 different sizes. One, which is this one here, is 4.75 inches by 2 inches. And I'm showing you that it gives you nice stitched edge on the outside of your cut, which is great when you want to do little windows or shaker cards or shaker tags, which is what this is for. And then the smaller stitched frame measures 2 1/4 by 2 inches. And again, it gives you the nice stitch border on the outside of your cut. So here I'm just going to show you that you can use those specifically for creating shaker tags. So it'll give a nice decorative edge when you cut out the main tag, the one that measures the 6.325 inches by 2 1/4 inches, to be able to create decorative window edges for your shaker cards. And that's just the larger one, and it does the same exact thing. So over to the right are your other tag elements. So you can see the different shapes for your toppers that are stacked up over there. And so here I've got some tags that I just cut out with some plain paper just to show you. So this one gives you the more rounded topper edge, and then you have one that's going to give you less round. And I like the versatility because depending on the width of your tag, like this here, I showed a couple, I have that gray one there and the blue one that you're going to see here in a second, where depending on the width of your card will depend on how your topper cuts, you know, how wide it looks or how narrow it looks and things like that. So I like being able to piece and mix and match things when I'm making cards or making tags, and to have these little elements to be able, to create things. It just gives much more versatility when you want to cut stuff. So this one here is to give you the blunt edge, angled cuts, so that you can have more of those Tim Holtz style tags, if that's the type of tag that you like to make as well. So the little squiggle line here I'm going to show you, that could be a top or a bottom, okay? But depending on how you cut it and the direction that you have the die will yield you different cuts. So I'm showing you the 2 different cuts depending on how you lay the die down on the cardstock, will give you just a different wave, a different shape, which is pretty neat. And so moving on, we've got the little bottom edgers to create a decorative edge to the bottom of your tags. So here is a scalloped edge with little circle punch cutouts. And this is great if you want to leave it open, which I'll show you in my example. I did that. Or if you want to line it and have like a little color poking through those holes. And now this one is the same. It's a scalloped edge, but it's a heart-shaped cutout, which is great for having little tiny heart elements that you can incorporate into your cards or your tags. And here's just a little up close of that heart die. And then next up we have just a straight stitch edge. So if you just want a simple decorative edge, there's a perfect straight edge, stitched edge that you can put onto the bottom of your tags. And then those are your little hole punches. And here I'm showing you that I cut out the bottom of the tag with a heart, so you could do that, or you can use it as a heart-shaped hole, hole punch to put your ribbon through. And so this one creates a large circle, but it also gives you your paper, your hole reinforcer, so you can do different colors or different pattern paper to give that decorative piece around your hole punch. And so these are the different sizes. So that top one is the one that gives you your paper reinforcer, and then you have 3 different sizes that are smaller hole punches, and then you have an oblong shape cutout, which I like, and then you also have a couple smaller square shaped die cuts for your hole punches. And so here I forgot to mention the bottom zigzag. You have a zigzag die cut that you could do for your bottom edge. And then here's my example. This is my shaker card. I used some of the new Lumberyard paper that's being released. I'll be showing that towards the end of the video. And I die cut that, and it's hard to see, but I have the stitched edge for that small die cut window, the 2 1/4 by 2 inches, and I used the oblong hole punch to create my hole punch, and then I used the little circle scalloped edge for the bottom of the tag, and I just think it turned out so cute. Okay, here we have Karen and Maria's, Tina's. I love Tina's little flip-flops. I think that's cute. And Waleska's. I love her little bear. And moving on, we've got an A2 Waterside scene die. Now this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's going to cover your whole A2 front card. And so here I'm showing you my example. So the black trim was die cut out of black cardstock, so you can have a black frame. So if you wanted to create frames, you could also use it for that on your cards. Okay, but each element cuts out. So we have the palm tree that cuts out, you have the water, you have some sand, and then of course your sun and your sky. So here's some examples from Priscilla and Sherry and Waleska and Tina and Megan. Okay, and next up we have a regular Slimline Waterside scene. So this one measures 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. And each element cuts out. So you have your clouds that cut out, you have your sky, you have your sun, you have your water, and your sand. So it leaves all kinds of possibilities. And for mine, I did a night scene, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. And so I die cut the panel out to get the black frame, so that's got a black frame around it, and then I just ink blended, because I just cut it out of white cardstock, ink blended the clouds and the sky. The moon I did, or the sun I did in silver to create a moon. I used some pigment ink for that, and then I ink blended for the water, and then added some white gel pen for the shimmer, and then I used some sand embossing powder for the sand for the beach. And so here we have Karen and Donna's. I love her little gnomes, and Maria's takes me to the tropics. Now next up we have the Summer Fun Essentials, and this you're going to see these elements. You've seen them scattered throughout the video in the project examples that the girls have done. And so here we have the first thing I showed you there at the top. There's the wave or the sand that measures 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. Then we have the beach ball that measures 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then there's a little center piece that measures about 1/4 of an inch, and you'll understand that here in a second when I show the beach ball example. But your sun is there, so you have the sun, which is 2 by 2, and then you have the center, which is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, and then we have a starfish that measures 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Then we have our popsicles, or popsicle, that measures 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. The flip-flops, I love these. They're so versatile, and you get both little pieces. So you get your little feet and you get your thong to create the flip-flop. They're not one piece. Excuse me. Your flip-flop measures 1 by 2 1/2 inches. And then one of my faves, because I'm a big bag person, is the beach bag. And that is 2 pieces, but it measures 2 by 1 1/4 inches, or 1 1/2 inches, I'm sorry, 2 by 1 1/2 inches. And that's your little handle. Now I tape mine together just to keep them together, but they die cut separately. And what's cool about the beach bag is it has little lines in it to cut little openings, little slits. And this little gem, you're going to be able to incorporate not just for your beach scene stuff and tucking things in, but for other elements on your cards as well. So this is the beach ball. I just wanted to show you on a plain piece of gray cardstock. It does have little slits in there too, but then you can cut those off and create separate pieces. So I use some of the pattern paper that released last month, the star pattern paper, and added that on, and then I just had some watercolored metallic paper in my stash, and that little red dot is your centerpiece for your ball. Now this little stitch that I was talking about, this gives you a cut, and then it gives a nice little stitch right up above it, but it's like a little pocket, so you could use this for cash. You can put gift cards. I think a gift card would fit in there, but I haven't tested that for sure. So you're talking about being able to incorporate that type of element on any of your cards, even on the inside of your cards with an extra little panel. But here's my example. So here's the sun, and I just ink blended on some yellow cardstock with some Distress ink. Excuse me. I cut my flip-flops out of some blue and dotted pattern, white dotted pattern paper, and then just some white for the thongs, white cardstock. And the water that you see there I'm pointing out, that came from a piece of pattern paper that I cut out from the A2 Waterside scene, as well as the white frame that goes around. That came from when I had cut out the A2 out of some plain white cardstock. But here's the little slits I was telling you about. That has some tucking abilities as well. I just love the versatility that these types of dies offer to be able to incorporate into our card making. And so Waleska shows us where she's tucked in the beach bag and the beach ball, and Tina shows us the starfish and the flip-flops, and we've got a more beachy flip-flops and starfish and a summery, you know, popsicles and flip-flops, and Lisa shows us our rainbow popsicles. I just love the versatility that little Summer Fun Essentials kit gives us. So up next is our lumberyard paper, and so this is 10 inches by, or 10.75 inches by 4 inches. And so this is going to be able to let you utilize it for your A2, your regular slimline, as well as your mini slimline. It is double-sided, and you get 4 sheets of each. And so this is the, you know, you get a dark side, and then the other side is that light side that you see there. And then you have this same one here, and then you get a lighter wood. I love the versatility of the wood colors that you get. You get some dark browns, you get some that are, you know, almost blackish, and then you have your whitewash and your grays and things. So really, really nice to be able to incorporate into masculine cards, and even like coming up for Thanksgiving, we've got a little bit for that, but Thanksgiving and Christmas or Halloween, that type of stuff. And so here's that darker grayish blackish with a nice whitewash. And then this one is kind of similar. So the one on the right is a little bit darker than the one on the left. Very, very subtle. And so for my example, I used one of the darker wood grains to layer up on my balloon panel, and that way it would just bring out those colors a little bit more. I just like how those came together. And then I also used it to create my shaker tag. And the popsicle that you see there on the front, I forgot to show you in the last clip with the Summer Fun Essentials, but I die cut that out of 3 different cardstocks to create the little ice cream pop. And I love the pattern paper. I think it's beautiful. So here's one from Karen and one from Donna. We've got a couple from Donna. And then we've also got one from Lisa. And last but not least, my friends, is our pearl mix. Okay, these things are fantastic. So they're pearl, so they have like an iridescent pearlized coating that's on the top of the gem. I'm going to call it a gem, but it's round and smooth. It's not rigid like one, like the rhinestones, if you will. And so I'm going to show this. So I use mine on my Father's Day card. This is silver, and they come in ballerina pink, seafoam, marshmallow, grape, bumblebee, pink lemonade. Let's see, we got espresso and Carolina blue and grape, apricot. The grape ones I used that I'm showing you there, I used on my Mother's Day card that matched that ruby metallic. I still think it's purple, but they call it ruby metallic. But it went so well with and matched that color so well. And then we got apricot, we got mocha, we've got a gold and silver. And I think that's it. I don't think I have any more anywhere else. But here, those are the marshmallow ones that I used on the sending paper hugs. And the marshmallow ones are my favorite. I'll be picking up some more of those. And here I used Carolina blue, mint green, and seafoam to coordinate with the metallic watercolors that I used. And I love these. I like iridescent stuff because it picks up the color of whatever it is you're using. I mentioned this in a previous video that even the clear iridescent are great because they're so versatile on so many things when you're using it for your card making or your tag elements. So, here's the apricot mix that I used on the congrats card. And then we've got some examples coming up. Maria used the gold on hers. So here I'm going to show that. I'm showing you how small they are. So you get like a small, a medium, and a large for the gems. And I mean, it's just great. It's just so versatile what you can do with these little gems, these little pearls. Now, the silver and the gold don't have any iridescent on them, but you don't need it. You need a gold and you need a silver. So I was so happy to see that Kat added those into the mix. So Maria's was gold, Megan's is silver, Lisa's is espresso, and Lisa also has pink lemonade, apricot, bumblebee, seafoam, grape, and Carolina blue. And that's going to wrap up the release video for me today, guys. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. Head on over to facebook.com/catscrappiness to enter the Rafflecopter for your chance to win this entire release. Also, don't forget, we're having our Memorial Weekend sale, so please head on over to catscrappiness.com and use that 15% off code MEMDAY2021. That'll be listed in the description box below as well. Don't forget, new release products are excluded, but there's tons of other brand new stuff that is available in the shop, and I encourage you to head on over there right now and start shopping. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.